Hello, this is just another 80s geek, and you are tuned in to the Geek Showcase, where we highlight all kinds of different geek items. And today we're going to start a whole new series that you'll be seeing popping up periodically on the channel. It's going to be covering top 10 or various numbers of animated or fictional types of characters. So, for example, it might be your top fictional police officers, or your top animated brothers, or maybe it might be some animals, so your top 10 animated mice, or horses, or cows, or dogs, or whatever it might be. There's a lot of different animals to choose from in the animated world, so we're going to be doing different stuff like that. And today, we're going to start it off with our top 10 fictional rats. That's right. I said it. Rats. We're starting with rats. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to throw up in order, starting from 10, going down all the way to the countdown to 1 with the different fictional rats. You may agree, you may disagree. I would love to hear all of those types of things in the comments, but let's start off just by whetting the appetite with a few honorable mentions. So, here are some animated or fictional rats that didn't quite make our top 10. Frankie Watterson from Amazing World of Gumball, stepdad, I believe, or the dad to one of the characters. I'm not super familiar with Amazing World of Gumball, but this is a very minor character, but he was a rat. We have Snitch from the Disney 1993 series Bonkers. Some people may remember that. They grew up in the 90s. We have the Rat from The Lady and the Tramp, the 1955 Disney film, based, by the way, on a 1945 magazine story in Cosmo. I find that interesting, but I couldn't put the Rat in the top 10 from Lady and the Tramp because he really doesn't have any dialogue, he doesn't have a voice, but he is basically one of the main antagonists of Lady and the Tramp in that movie, if you've seen it. We have Nigel Ratburn, the teacher from the 1996 animated series Arthur. Made a lot of controversy when he had a same-sex marriage on that show. We have Ratso from The Brave Little Toaster, the 1987 film. So those are some rats that didn't quite make the list. But let's get into the ones that did. So starting off with number 10, we have Rat from Fantastic Mr. Fox. Yes, the cleverly named Rat from Fantastic Mr. Fox. This is a 2009 Wes Anderson film based on the 1970 Roald Dahl novel. This rat character should make the list on one fact alone, and that is that he is voiced by Willem Dafoe. Like, that should be enough for him to make the list just by itself. But Rat was the kind of the nasty, he's an antagonist in this one as well. He's the nasty security guard for the farmers that tries to keep Fantastic Mr. Fox and his friends, etc., from achieving their goals. He does end up giving some good information at the end before he dies. I think he gets electrocuted in that movie, if I'm remembering right. So a lot of these rats are going to die. It's a theme. I get it. People don't like rats. But the Rat from Fantastic Mr. Fox is our number 10 fictional rat. I'm going to go a little outside of the box for number 9. So our number 9 fictional rat, a lot of you don't know as a rat because he became a mouse later in his career. Not so much an animated character, but it is a character that I couldn't leave off this list. We're going with the iconic Chuck E. Cheese. Yes, Chuck E. Cheese, the rat from the restaurant / amusement theater, whatever you want to call it. It was originally called Chuck E. Cheese Pizza Time Theater when it opened in San Jose, California. But just for trivia's sake, Chuck E. Cheese was a rat from 1977 to 1992. In 1992, they rebranded Chuck E. Cheese and made him a mouse because they thought that that was more favorable character for kids and stuff like that. I mean, the original Chuck E. Cheese, the rat from the 70s and 80s, he like smoked a cigar and everything. He was, I don't know why they chose that as a kid's mascot for a Pizza Time theater, but if you've not been to Chuck E. Cheese, I'm sorry, but Chuck E. Cheese is just like a staple. It's like a rite of passage when you're growing up, and he was originally a rat, so I'm putting him here at number 9 of our fictional rats. All right, let's move on to number 8. Number 8 is going to be a theme that you're going to see throughout the rest of this. I'm going to go with a character from The Secret of Nim. Secret of Nim was a 1982 Don Bluth film. If you're not familiar with Don Bluth, he's the guy that did The American Tail and Land Before Time, and a bunch of other All Dogs Go to Heaven, and The Secret of Nim. So this was a 1982 film based on the 1971 book, and the book was titled Mrs. Frisby and the Rats of Nim. So The Secret of Nim obviously is all about these mice and these rats, and I'm not going to get into the story too much, but Nicodemus is the character I'm going to go with here for number 8. Nicodemus is like the wise old mysterious wizard-like head of the rats in The Secret of Nim, and he gives a lot of information to Mrs. Frisby, etc., to help them in their quest. So he does end up dying in this film as well, so that's our second rat death here. But Nicodemus is a good character overall. He's iconic in that movie, and I think a lot of people would recognize him from that time period. So Nicodemus from The Secret of Nim is going to be my number 8. Nicodemus was voiced by Derek Jacobi in that film. Let's move on to number 7, a childhood favorite of mine. We're going to go to Charlotte's Web. Yes, the E.B. White book from 1952, which got turned into a Hanna-Barbera film in 1973 and a live-action film in 2006. We're, of course, going with the rat from Charlotte's Web, which is named Templeton. Templeton was voiced by the iconic Paul Lynde, who some of you old-school people would remember that he did the voice of Mildew Wolf back in the early Hanna-Barbera days. He would be voiced by Charlie Adler in one of the animated versions of Charlotte's Web, and then Steve Buscemi in the live-action 2006 film. Templeton is like Charlotte's friend. I mean, Templeton is a rat, and he is very much concerned with sneaking around, getting food. He's very gluttonous and things like that. So he has a lot of like cons going against him, but he does help Charlotte in her quest throughout that story, and he does end up having some redeeming qualities. But I think a lot of people that grew up probably saw Charlotte's Web in school at some point, and Templeton is just an iconic rat from that film. So, and Templeton doesn't die in the film, so we're good for there. So Chuck E. Cheese and Templeton have not died. All right, let's go to number 6. Number 6, we're going to go back to The Secret of Nim. Yes, there's a theme here. There's a lot of good rats in The Secret of Nim. For number 6, I'm going to go with Justin. So Justin is like the friendly captain of the guard for the rats in Secret of Nim. And he meets Frisby and helps them throughout the thing. When all is said and done, Justin ends up basically taking Nicodemus' spot as like the head of the rats in Secret of Nim. So he's the good rat that sides with Frisby and the rest of the mice and whatnot in The Secret of Nim, helps them out, and then eventually takes over the head position for the rats. So Justin is a great character in Secret of Nim, has a lot of good redeeming qualities, chivalrous, nice guy, etc. The opposite, he was voiced by Peter Strauss, by the way. The opposite of Justin would be my number 5, which is our last character from The Secret of Nim, and that is the iconic villain from Secret of Nim named Jenner. So Jenner is the guy who is going against Nicodemus. He does not want him to be in charge. He doesn't want them to go to this new thorny place. He wants them to remain in the rose bush. He actually sabotages Nicodemus and is the main reason why Nicodemus is killed. And he actually mortally wounds Sullivan, which is his sidekick as well, when Sullivan turns on him. And he attempts to attack Justin, but as Sullivan's dying, he throws a dagger into Jenner's back, killing Jenner. So Jenner is our third rat that actually dies on this list, but Jenner is just an iconic villain as far as the rat world goes, as far as the animated world goes, especially from the 1980s. So Jenner, the villain from Secret of Nim, is our number 5 rat. Let's go to another villain for our number 4. Our number 4 fictional rat is going to be Professor Radigan from The Great Mouse Detective. This is the 1986 Disney film, interestingly done by John Musker and Ron Clements, who would go on to do Little Mermaid and Aladdin, based on a book series, Basil of Baker Street. And that book series started in 1958. So Professor Radigan is basically like the Professor Moriarty of Sherlock Holmes. That's kind of like the equivalent. And he is definitely a bad character in here. He's like misleading and conning a whole lot of people. And like Jenner and like Nicodemus and like the rat from Fantastic Mr. Fox, Professor Radigan is also going to die when he falls off of Big Ben and to his death. So Professor Radigan, I don't think it gets much more iconic from a Disney villain standpoint, especially from the non-musical Disney films. I just love this. I think Great Mouse Detective kind of flies under the radar with The Rescuers and Rescuers Down Under, and I think there's some good films that kind of got overshadowed, obviously, by the Disney Renaissance, what some people would call, which is Little Mermaid, Aladdin, Beauty and the Beast, Lion King, etc. So Professor Radigan, don't sleep on him. He's a good villain. He's our number 4 fictional rat. That means it's time for our top 3. Number 3 fictional rat. I'm going to go with, how about Rizzo the Rat from The Muppets? More specifically, he was in The Muppet Show. He was also a starring role in The Muppet Christmas Carol. Oftentimes you'd see Rizzo the Rat traveling along with Gonzo. He debuted in 1980, was voiced by Steve Whitmire. Some great voices throughout here. By the way, I forgot to mention, Professor Radigan, voiced by Vincent Price. Vincent Price. Like, we have Willem Dafoe, Steve Buscemi, Paul Lynde, Vincent Price. Lots of iconic voices here. But Rizzo was performed by the longtime iconic Muppet actor Steve Whitmire. He performed a lot of the Muppets in that show, took over a lot of actual Jim Henson's characters as well. But Rizzo the Rat is just great. Like, he's this great sidekick. He's got a lot of comedy. He just fits in very well with the Muppets, and I think he's easily number 3 here on the fictional rat list. Let's go to number 2. This character was voiced by Patton Oswalt in the 2007 film directed by Brad Bird from Pixar. We're talking about Remy from Ratatouille. I don't think I need to say much more. Remy is the main character from Ratatouille. Ratatouille is one of the best Pixar films and one of the best just overall animated films of our lifetime. And Remy is just like the rat chef. And he's so lovable, and he's not a villain like so many of these other. I mean, we had Radigan and Jenner and Nicodemus and the rat from Fantastic Mr. Fox. It's oftentimes this, like, antagonist, this villain character, and Remy is the pure opposite of that, like total opposite of that. He's as good as it comes, and Remy is a great character. There's obviously some other rats that you see in Ratatouille as well, but I think Remy is easily the best one that we should remember, and he takes our number 2 spot on our fictional rat list. All right, that leaves only one spot, and I think it should be obvious. If you're paying attention, you probably can guess which one this one is. This character has been voiced by Peter Renaday, Tony Shalhoub, Darren Dunstan, Kevin Clash, Hoon Lee, Eric Baza, and coming up very soon for all of you, Jackie Chan. We're talking about, from the 1984 comic, 1987 cartoon, and very many other cartoons and movies that have followed from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, we're talking about Master Splinter. It doesn't get any more iconic than Master Splinter for a fictional rat. Again, a good character, unlike a lot of the rats that are on this list. He doesn't die, at least most of the time he doesn't die. And I mean, he's the father of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. He's a ninja rat. He's all knowledgeable. He's a sensei. Like, what is there not to like about Master Splinter? Like, really, he is by far my number 1 pick for the best fictional rat we've ever seen. So that was our top 10 rat list. If you agree or disagree, please leave comments below. Let me know which rats I forgot, or let me know which ones you think should be higher, lower, etc. I'd love to have some discussions with you guys all about these fictional rats. Once again, that list was Rat from Fantastic Mr. Fox at number 10, Chuck E. Cheese at 9, Nicodemus from Secret of Nim at 8, Templeton from Charlotte's Web at 7, Justin from Secret of Nim at 6, Jenner from Secret of Nim at 5, Radigan from The Great Mouse Detective at number 4, Rizzo from The Muppets at number 3, Remy from Ratatouille at number 2, and Master Splinter from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles takes our number 1 spot. If you enjoyed this list of fictional rats, let me know and we'll do more. I have lots of other animals or occupations or different things that we can do. So if you want to see more of this, let us know in the comments. Please subscribe, like and share this video and this channel. I'd greatly appreciate it. Tune in next time for another chance to watch more of the Geek Showcase.